Could it be? Could this really be it? Could this really be the end of Eren? I know that Isayama has stated on numerous occasions that he wanted to finish up the manga soon, but... Come on! And introducing your new protagonist. Female Eren, just like Isayama always wanted. Chapter 119 is now officially... The battle really feels like it's drawing to a close in this Return to Shigashina arc. All the trainees and military officers that have been previously detained inside the castle by the Jaegerists have now been mobilized, as the former rival factions set aside their differences and unite together to fight against a common foe in a time of crisis. Well, at least let's just say a temporary tacit truce of sorts. Really though, that's about all you can ask for in a series like this where people actually do consider their own self-interest above others, or at least something that needs to be heavily considered, unlike a lot of other series. This harsh reality was once again exquisitely put on painful display when Zeke, callous as ever, shrugged off Cult's empathetic plea for momentary amnesty on the battlefield, unleashing his scream and titanizing everybody who drank his wine, effectively ending the roles of quite a few notable characters in the story, including Niall, who has been getting steady development throughout the series. So much development that I guess he became too good for this world. What's this? Doing the humane thing and giving amnesty to the little girl? Did you just forget that she killed 3 of your people? But never mind all that and take a look at those big brown eyes. How could you even blame her when she's so freaking cute? It's the adults to blame for sending children off into theaters of war in the first place. Surely they wouldn't take any course of violent action voluntarily. Moving on to our next war criminal, Commander Pixies, who despite his drunken stupor always brought a level-headedness to calm many a crisis, using his easygoing wiles to skillfully maneuver people into doing what he wants. Pixies was a major force in the political sphere for Paradise Island. He was the one who was holding it all together. With his sharpness gone, I have a hard time seeing the politics in Shingeki no Kyojin getting to the same level of intricacy as it had before. Thus, moving forward, I have a feeling that politics will no longer play much of a role in the story. I mean, who's even left to delegate here? With all the major political actors, either all killed off or somehow disabled. Things are tilting towards a very forceful and direct conclusion. The Marley forces are all but defeated, having all their airships and cover fire been taken down by Zeke, the Jaw Titan running out of energy and using the last of his composure to metaphorically shove it up Reiner's Titan ass one last time, while simultaneously saving Falco. Pyek-chan taking a hit from Armin of all people, and he hasn't even activated his colossal Titan power yet. And that's when you know when things aren't going well for your side. While Mikasa is out there slicing through her newly formed squad after her last one was blown up only a few months ago, it really does feel like diplomacy has been thrown out the window and nuanced political maneuvers have been left by the wayside. Paradise Island's government's downfall was once again caused by its own poor sense of priorities, wanting to maintain control for itself at all costs, by relying on a singular power that they believed could conveniently solve all their problems, subsequently allowing the Jaegerists to win the support of the people by acquiescing their demand for action. By the time the Paradise government got with the plot, it was already too late. Things were already set in motion, and their treacherous plans of having Eren be eaten by someone they can control never came into fruition. The people became a mob hungry for the destruction of their enemies, reducing the entire conflict into nothing more than one of mere survival. Either one side or the other, absent of moral value. There's too much to lose and too much has been lost. With all practical options for diplomacy leading to nowhere and being increasingly driven into a corner by seemingly the inevitable approach of annihilation, condoned by the entire world. With everything locked into place, there's no other way but to move forward. Even so, despite being the one who led his reluctant people down this path, Eren was hesitant when notified that Zeke was about to unleash his scream, asking him to wait. At this point, he should already be well aware of who has drank the wine and who hasn't. So he should know that all his friends are safe, meaning he actually does care for the rest of the military members on Paradise Island. That extends beyond just his local group of friends, members of the military who posed threatening opposition to his own Jaegerist faction. which really does lend credibility to Armin's speculation that Eren might have been forced somewhat by Yelena to go along for her plan because he was being threatened in some way. Certainly, Eren didn't even know about the plan to blow up Exactly. That said, it doesn't mean Eren is being completely manipulated here. At the very least, he is putting on a mask in order to use Zeke and try to limit whatever damage he and his men may cause by accommodating their demands for now. Moving forward to reach the shared goal of coming in contact with each other that they did all this for in the first place. Of course, that would be difficult with Reiner and company doing all that they can to prevent Eren from achieving that goal. But it does seem like even if Eren gets there, it would be a rather fruitless endeavor, considering that Zeke has already been scraped out of his Titan, shall we say. Which means that even if Eren did come in contact with Zeke, nothing should actually happen, which was explicitly remarked on by Magif. The interesting thing here is that Pieck has a look of concern while Magif is commenting on all of this, almost as if she was deep in thought about something, before being rudely interrupted by Armin's Thunder Spear, begging the question of whether there's something that more than meets the eye going on here. Which is what it all comes down to, right? What is the actual fate of our dear protagonist? It is ardently inconceivable that he could be killed off at this point in the manga. As the driving force behind the story, the series would lose all momentum if he were to be killed off here. How could the all-important themes of the manga be ever consummated if the one who most embodies them is no longer there to carry them forward? Isayama has already had his fair share of fake-outs, enough to consider relegating it as a mere storytelling device for the sake of dramatic effect, or remove certain elements that would inhibit the plot, then something that would forebode serious consequence. So what options are we looking at here that could potentially rectify the fact that Eren's head was cleanly blown off his body? The most obvious possible answer to that is simply that Eren transferred his consciousness a la Reiner to his lower body, thus is simply knocked out of the picture for a while, like Levi, till his head regenerates. But no one else has been able to pull off that feat except for Reiner, so that could be something exclusive to the Armor Titan. Or maybe Eren has a date with the little girl inside the paths, who has already proven to be able to change fate in some way by saving Zeke. As far as potential Founding Titan power usage goes, I don't think there's possibility of that considering that Zeke is out of his Titan form. While there are inconsistencies this chapter, such as Eren suddenly gaining the ability to materialize new clothes and shoes, Pieck suddenly in her Titan form again after intentionally dissipating it the previous chapter. That could be because he was busy with his final exhibition this month, resulting in a lot of the characters looking rather rough. Honestly, it'd be kind of a waste of a chapter if everything that happened in it was fake. Still though, it almost feels like things are too conspicuous in a way, that it'd be less confounding to simply take the events that happen at face value. Isayama has to be aware that his readers are onto him, so why even force this unnecessary scene that will require a pretty big plot armor to save? Something that this manga has done very well to mostly avoid, especially compared to other shonen. I will say, if there was a time for Isayama to play the Attack Titan special power trump card, it would be now or never, especially when you consider that if someone doesn't inherit the Titan power directly, it will go to a random baby. So we wouldn't even get the chance to see what's so special about the Attack Titan if that did happen. Unless this is one of those powers that won't activate unless the user dies. The thing is though, all the other shifter powers other than the Founding Titan have pretty grounded capabilities, nothing that involve the metaphysical. But there's gotta be something special about the Titan that the manga is named after, right? It seems to urge its users towards a path of destruction, while the Founding Titan urges its users towards pacifism. A clear parallel here, suggesting that it has a similar level of importance in some way. Whether it be good or bad though, depends on which way Isayama wants to take the freedom train. Hopefully either way, Isayama connects it thematically to explore human nature in some way, and not just be some big shonen bad that our heroes must defeat to save the world. If I had to guess what the Attack Titan's power is, I would say it's the ability to send memories back into the past, or maybe even future, as we had already seen 2 instances of this happening, both involving Attack Titan users. Now hopefully there won't be any time resets or multiple timelines or things like that, as I feel that would cheapen the story. Other than that, I don't think there's a threat of the story disappointing me next chapter. Especially considering that shit has hit the fan in all avenues. We'll either get to see what happened to Eren, or Levi, or Historia. Gabby's basic but necessary story arc is all but finished, so Isayama can't rely on any more Gabby girl to postpone things, and distract his readers from getting answers to pressing questions. Overall, it was an exciting chapter even without the Gabby headshot, saying farewell to many characters that have been there since the beginning, and some characters who aren't. Is it me, or did Cole lack some serious foresight? Like really? His brother becoming a Titan wasn't exactly the end of the line, especially considering that he was part of the Warriors program and he personally knew 3 other warriors who could potentially transfer their powers to him. Emotions over logic, I suppose.